Mm. Welcome. This is Allison Vanilla. I am live streaming here on. In 1 second. I've got to figure out how to take this off. This is my first time using this platform, so I've got to figure out how to mute this. So okay, I have turned it back on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, so I had a second uh, here, whatever, reverb back. So I had to take care of that. Thank you so much, Colleen, for letting me know. As I said before, this is my first time using this platform, so I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to work out. All right, let's see if we could get into this. Let us go right back to StreamYard and work from there. All right, so this should be streaming both on StreamYard and LinkedIn right now. I have not been able to check on LinkedIn to see if it is. If there's anybody on here from LinkedIn, please let me know if it is showing up on there. If not, then YouTube is good enough. All right, welcome. This is Allison Bonella. I'm your professional life strategist, and I am here today to give you some tips about how to have a healthy holiday. And it's all about those habits. We develop some habits that sometimes are not so great around the holiday season, and I want to address some of those habits. Before we get into all of that, though, there's a couple of things I want to share. First of all, I want to tell you a little bit about who I am. I am a licensed psychotherapist here in Florida. I do have a private practice. However, nothing that we say on this workshop or webinar is to be construed as therapy. This is all coaching. I've been doing coaching for the last 5 years, and I frequently speak on topics of health and wellness, emotional and physical wellness, to help people to be able to live their best lives. And around the holidays, I'm so aware that there are so many times that we don't live our best lives. One, because we forget how to, we get so busy and the chaos of the season just becomes our world. And some of the best practices, whatever we know, we tend to let them fall by the wayside. I'm here today to remind you not to let them go and not to let them go with the promise that you'll pick them back up again in January or February, which tends to be the common habit. We'll talk about some of those habits. So that's what I'm here for. I'm Alison Medella. I'm a professional life strategist, and this is more about coaching and it's not about therapy. But there may be some overlap, and where there is, any kind of advice, any kind of tips that I give you, if it seems to work for you, that would be great. I just want you to be healthy, and I want you to really, truly to be able to enjoy this holiday and this season. It really is a lovely season. Look, I even wore my my little Christmas tree lights in honor of the season. And I was playing a little Christmas music earlier. I know for some people that is so annoying. They hate that Christmas music, but I kind of like it. So, but I'll spare you any of it in the background of this video. How about that? All right, so that's my welcome. Before we get further on into the workshop, I'd also like to ask you to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're not already a member, if you're not already a fan, become a fan, and like and subscribe to that. If you're on LinkedIn, after you're finished with the workshop, head on over to YouTube and do the same. Last ask and last request is to please share in the chat where you are listening to this workshop from. I'd love to know your location as well as the platform that you're using to listen to this workshop. So if you could do that, I really would appreciate this. Again, full disclaimer, disclosure, this is my first time using this platform, so please pardon me if I toggle back and forth a little bit, trying to make sure that I see everything that's coming in. I will do my best to pay attention if there are any questions. However, grace, I ask for a bit of grace as I try to navigate this and make sure that I'm seeing questions. So Colleen, thank you. Illinois, YouTube, I'm seeing that. Joseph Bond, Florida, YouTube. Thank you so much. So as we go along, if anybody else joins us, I'd love for them to do that. I'll try to make a point to remind them as we go along. All right. Let's see. We are now 8 minutes in, and I think I did pretty good. So we could just get right into the subject. Don't you hate when you start a webinar or start a workshop and the host or the person who's doing it takes a good 20 to 30 minutes to actually get to the topic? They spend all the time greeting people and making announcements. So I don't like that, so I don't want to do that to you. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to start first with a story. Bear with me, the story is going to tie very neatly into everything. Years ago, my husband and I took a wonderful vacation. We would typically take a week-long or 10-day vacation to the Caribbean, and this is what we did. It was our normal thing. But this year, we had the brilliant idea of renting a car. So we rented a car. We were in the Caribbean, and they drive on the opposite side of the street. So the island that we were on was very mountainous and winding roads with steep drop-offs. And there we are driving on the opposite side of the road in this car. We thought, hey, we could do this. So we did it. We had a great time, and we were able to explore the island with a lot of freedom because we had our own transportation. We didn't have to wait for people to come and get us and take us places. Well, the day that we were supposed to leave, the owner of the rental service was supposed to meet us at our hotel, and they would drive us to the airport and then take their car back. Well, we're there waiting, and we had a very early flight. I think it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. The island was still dark. The roads were dark. As I told you, it was windy. And we're sitting waiting there, and time is going on. And it takes a good 40 minutes to get down this mountain to get to the airport. So in a panic, I said to my husband, we can't wait any longer. Let's get in the car, drive ourselves to the airport, and we'll call them when we get there and tell them where to collect the car. So we got in the car, and it is pitch black out there, and we are just flying down this mountain and all these twists and these turns. And I just envisioned we're just going to go over into one of those ravines. It was a worse ride than one of the amusement parks. And I'm holding on for dear life, praying like I've never prayed before. Dear God, please let us get there safely. So we get to the airport safely, obviously, and I was a wreck, but my husband's a very calm guy. He was calm. So we got there, we got our flight on time, we got home on time. We had called the guy and told him where to collect his car. And I thought, okay, fine. But what a way to end a vacation. It was peaceful up till then. Well, we get home, and the next day I get up and I am covered in hives. From the top of my head all the way down, hives, big welts. Never had that before, never had it since, didn't know what happened. So I called the doctor. He said, well, come on in. I go in and he asks various questions about, did I eat something different? Am I using different laundry detergent? And I told him everything's the same. I mean, I just came back from vacation. We had a wonderful time and so forth. He says, well, the only thing I could think of is this looks like it's a stress reaction. Have you been under a lot of stress recently? At which point I looked at him and I said, I just told you, I just came back from a wonderful vacation. What stress? 10 days lying on the beach, eating all kinds of food that I love, just, sleeping as late as I wanted. It was wonderful. And he said, well, this really looks like it's stress. So I stopped and I thought for a minute and I said, wait a minute. I had like 40 minutes of extreme, intense stress as we flew down that mountain. Could that have done this to me? And the acknowledgement is, yes, that did. Just that intense stress for that short period of time. And my body overreacted like crazy. What do you think it does when you're under prolonged stress for a long period of time? It must be even worse. It may not manifest itself like it did with me with those hives, but can you imagine? I think that's what happens to a lot of people, though, around this time of the year. It's not that intense stress that I had flying down that mountain, but they're under this level of stress that they can't even acknowledge because it is so expected. It's so, it's what we do around the holidays. We fly around doing things for people and for meeting all these obligations that come around the holidays. I like to talk about stress and stress management around the holidays just because it's a global issue. We all are under so much stress around the holidays. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it from that perspective, about how to be healthy by addressing these kind of stress. And the stress comes in different areas of challenge. The challenges to our health during the holidays come in different places. I'm going to address each of these places and each of these challenges. And I want you to weigh in also in the chat and let me know if you've experienced any of those stresses in any of those areas and maybe some tools that you found to be able to address it. So the first area of stress that I want to talk to us about, I want to share with you about, is the challenges to our physical health during the holiday season. When I say the holiday season, I'm really talking about the Christmas holiday season. I'm talking anywhere between October to December, that last quarter of the year. That is the year we have, for those of us in the United States, we have starting with Halloween, then we have Thanksgiving, then we have Christmas. And for some people from other religions, they have Hanukkah, and there may be some other religious holidays in there that I'm not familiar with. But nevertheless, there is just this global tension, the sense of, it's this happy holiday season, but aligned with it, there's so much commercialization. So I'm going to talk to you about the challenges to our physical health first. One of the things that I'm so aware of is that in this time of the year, many times some of the healthy physical practices we've put in place all year long tends to fall down. It falls apart because there are expectations, there are social events, there are events professionally that we get involved in that belong at this time of the year. I am a business owner. myself. So I own my own business. And around this time of the year, it's very busy for me because this is the year that we are putting everything together, making sure all our payments are up to date, all our notes up to date, all our charts up to date, and getting everything pretty much closed out for the old year and ready to start the new year. So around this time of the year in my office, myself and my secretary will be very busy trying to put everything together to make sure we started the new year in a very organized manner. And I'm sure in many businesses it's the same. In the retail businesses, there are a lot of sales, there's a lot of busyness because of shopping. There is a heightened level of a level of activity in various businesses, but there's also heightened level of activity in the families too, because this is the time of year people travel, family members come and they visit. So the physical things that you've put in place for your health usually fall apart around this time of the year. You may have been somebody who went regularly to the gym or who did daily exercise, did things to support yourself physically during the year. And it's not unusual for this time of the year for those things to fall down because of other situations that intrude. If that's the case, just put a thumbs up and let me know that I'm speaking to you, that is something that you understand and you resonate with. So what we have to do is we have to look at how to hold on to the healthy practices that we have put in place for the whole year. I want you to stop and just take an evaluation, take an acknowledgement, say what has worked for me all during the year and have I let it slip? Don't give yourself any excuses. There's no reason for it to slip. You have to prioritize your physical health right through the year. If you had started a practice of walking, keep walking. If you'd started a practice of going to the gym, keep going to the gym. Goodness knows they're still taking out your payments. Use it. Use the gym. That's why you paid for it. Now, one of the things during this time of the year, if you live in the northern climes, is that the weather turns. So we get a lot of excuses. Who wants to roll out of bed early in the morning and it's cold? The temptation is to say, I'll just miss today. I'll do something else. It's not going to hurt. Get rid of that thought. That's not the thought you want to have. Because if you break your habit, it's going to be harder to start it back in the new year. And that's the other excuse we use a lot of times. We say to ourselves, what's a month? What's 1 month? Turns into 2, and then you say, I'll start again fresh in the new year. Well, it becomes that much harder in January and February to start back because you've broken that habit. So I would say to you, hold on to, if you have a healthy physical practice, hold on to it. Know that there's going to be a lot of things pulling you away from it, but hold on to it. And if you don't have one, start it. Don't wait for the new year to make a New Year's resolution to say, that's when I'm going to go start exercising. That's when I'm going to join the gym. Keep exercising. If you're going to join the gym, join it now because you're going to need that exercise to help deal with all the stress you're having this time of the year. Another thing, too, with regards to the cold weather, because it's cold, again, we don't want to go out to exercise. But know that you can do things in the home, too. There are wonderful YouTube channels. I've put a link in the description of this video, and you'll see it once it's on replay, of some curated sites that I visit that really helps me to keep healthy when I don't feel like going out, because I don't like the cold either. So I like to exercise in my home. I even keep things available. I keep a jump rope available that I jump in my office. I keep a hula hoop available. If you can see this hula hoop available, that I hula hoop in my office. I find things to keep myself physically active. And you could do the same thing. It doesn't have to be the gym. It doesn't have to cost money. It could be something as simple as just a hula hoop or a jump rope. So just kind of remember to maintain your physical health during this time of the year, and don't be tempted to let it slip and slide thinking, I'll just start back up in January and February. That is not a good way to think. All right, so that's physical health. Also, along with physical health, I want to remind you to stay hydrated. That's another thing that falls apart during this time of the year. Our diet shifts. We tend to eat a lot more sweets and fattening foods. So remember that Thanksgiving, that wonderful Thanksgiving meal, I'm sure you indulge, as many of us do. And around the holidays, we're offered a lot more sweets. We're offered a lot more not very healthy stuff. So nutrition becomes a bit of an issue. Listen, yes, you could treat yourself to some of these things, but also remember to stay hydrated. We tend not to drink as much water in the winter because we're thinking, oh, I don't sweat that much. I'm not out that much. But nevertheless, you're indoors and you're in a lot of heated air, a lot of dry air. It dries out your skin, it dries out your body. You need to stay well hydrated. So that old adage about drinking at least eight glasses, 8-ounce glasses of water every day, hang on to it. A tip about that is because we so overestimate how much we drink, a good tip is to keep a jar filled with water, at least eight cups of water nearby, and refill your thermoses or your cups from that. So don't just add water here. Keep it from a jar that's you already know how much water is in it. So that way, at the end of the day, you can really see how much water you actually drank. Because lots of times when you ask people, did you drink water? They say, oh, yeah, I drank water today. But by the end of the day, they barely drank 2 glasses of water. So you want to make sure you drink close to eight cups of water during the day. So that's a good way of measuring it. All right. So to finish up that tip, you want to get some physical activity in your life, at least 20 minutes of something aerobic every day. Do not make excuses and let that slip. Every day, right throughout the holiday. And you want to make sure you stay hydrated. You also want to make sure you don't shift your sleep habits too greatly. It's going to shift a little bit, again, because there are so many social obligations that are presented to you. So yes, there may be more opportunities to go out, but you also want to make sure you pay attention to your sleep and it doesn't become habitual that you're not getting enough hours of sleep. That all will help you to have a healthier go through this holiday season in a healthier frame. Okay, so now we're going to shift to talking about challenges to our emotional health. Now, this is an area I have worked with many people about because, as I mentioned to you earlier, I've been a psychotherapist in private practice for many years. And around this time of the year, I would typically have a conversation with my clients and also with colleagues and friends and family members. And we would talk about the strain that this time of the year puts on our emotional health. You could be a very healthy person emotionally, and it still puts a strain. And I'll tell you some of the main areas of strain. If you're an introvert, this time of the year is very difficult for many introverts because they're called upon to interact and engage socially with so many people. The introverts like to pretty much stay to themselves, and they just gain energy from just spending that time by themselves. And this time of the year, they're pulled all over. And, it's not polite to say no to too many things. Some of the things because of family, some of the things because of the job. And no is not always an option. Even though we like to say, just say no, when the aunt or the family members say, you need to come for Thanksgiving dinner, what are you going to do? Say no? You're going to go and you're going to do the best you can. But it's not just one Thanksgiving dinner. It's like somebody's visiting, so you have to go visit them. Then Christmas is right around the corner, and then you have to go shopping, and there's so many people around. Well, right now, a lot of people do shopping online, so the introverts are doing their little happy dance. They don't really have to go out to the stores anymore. But nevertheless, there's so many social opportunities out there, and it is stressful for somebody who really does not like to be out there so much. Okay, so that's one area where it stresses the emotional health. The other area is you know, happy holidays. We say that all the time, but the holidays aren't happy for everybody. Many people are challenged during the holidays because of past history of trauma or abuse, or just not having happy memories around the holidays. And this isn't only the people who've had maybe deaths or divorces or things that happen around the holidays. This is also people who did not grow up in homes where the holidays were very happy. Around the holidays, alcohol tends to flow a little bit freer. So if that was an issue in the home of our origin, around this time of year could be very triggering because the alcohol flows so freely. And if you've had, again, like I said, alcoholism or anything like that, or abuse or drug abuse, this time of year usually had many crises in it. So there are people right now who you won't know from just looking at them, but this is what this holiday means to them. This is what the memories are. I remember one time I had a client who was triggered into almost a panic attack because she received a card, just a regular Christmas card, from a family member who had abused her as a child. And so these are the things you have to deal with. You have to see people maybe you don't want to see. You have to spend time with family members that you don't want to spend time with. So that is part of the emotional challenge for some people around this time of the year. The answer to that is talk to someone. Talk to someone trusted, whether it's your pastor, whether it's a counselor, a therapist. If it's something with regards to abuse or trauma in your family of origin, I don't say take that to a coach. I say take that to a therapist, because there's probably a lot there that needs to unpack. If you've had a therapist in the past, this is a good time to say, hi, I'm back. Just visit. It doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment that you see them and you have to see them for the next 6 years. It may just be that they could help you, give you that support just to get you through the season, just to get you through the next 3 months. And that's perfectly fine. We all need additional support at different times in our life. So think about that. It's not a commitment to lifelong therapy, but if you need the support, go get it. And also just be mindful that, again, the holidays are not happy for everyone, and just be sensitive to that. And for those that are struggling and having a challenge, be kind. Just be kind. So let's see, emotional. We talked about physical health, and now we're talking about emotional health. Let's see. The next one I want to talk to you about is, listen, if I forgot anything and if there's something you'd like me to expound on a little bit more, drop it in the chat. As I said, if I don't see it right now, I will try to address it later on, either in the replay or maybe I'll catch it while I'm toggling back and forth, and I'll be happy to speak a little bit more about it to you. And also regarding the emotional health challenges, again, I've put some links in the description of this video of ways to maybe find somebody for therapy if that's what the need is. Okay, financial health. Oh, how do we develop healthy holiday habits around the area of finances and financial health? Well, I put a poll on LinkedIn about different areas of challenge, and quite a few people saw financial challenges around this time of the year as part of the stress they're they have to go through. Well, I have to tell you, when I think about financial health, I think a lot about boundaries. Boundaries is really an answer to dealing with financial struggles and financial health issues. Yes, you could see a financial advisor and they could tell you how best to budget and spend money better. And that's always good. You could do that any time of the year. But around this time of the year, the people who struggle the most financially are not the people who don't have money or the people who have money. It's the people who don't have boundaries around money. Let me say that again. The people who really struggle financially, it's not whether you have money or you don't have money. It's if you don't have healthy boundaries around money. It's being able to say no to wants and so you could say yes to needs. There's no reason for you to run your credit card up so high that you're spending the next the 3 months, the first 3 months of the next year, trying to pay off credit card bills. You are just delaying. It's stressful now, and it's going to be stress that's extended into the new year. Learn to be able to say no to wants and yes to needs, because whenever you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. You know, the dollar only stretches so far. So look at what it is that's essential. Make sure you have money for what's essential, and what is not essential. Think about ways that you could, if you need to purchase items and gifts, think about ways that you could give gifts that do not just break your bank and break your wallet. There's the gift of time. There's the gift of service. You know, there is just the gift of your presence and love and attention. So think about ways to package those things in a way that you could give them as gifts. I remember when my kids were younger, and maybe lots of you had this experience if you're parents, they would come home with little coupons that their teachers would help them make. And the coupon was for one free hug. It was a wonderful gift. I really enjoyed my free hugs. It was a coupon for I'll do a chore. I love my coupons. So they would package those up in a little card, and that would be my Christmas gift. So you don't have to do it exactly that way, but you could certainly maybe use your imagination and creativity and give gifts that don't break your bank or your wallet. The boundaries also involve just being able to look at what is needed, as I said, and make sure that you don't overspend. Another recollection is being a business owner, we have a lot of things that we have to put out during this time of the year. We have to pay people and bonuses and gifts and holiday parties. I remember one year working for a company in Manhattan in New York, and there were so many financial obligations. I didn't own my business at that time, but there were so many financial obligations that when I looked at it at the end of the year, I was spending close to $400. The company I worked for held this swank party, a wonderful party at the rooftop of one of the major hotels. It was great. It was overlooking Central Park. The caviar was there, the steak tartare. First time I ever ate steak tartare. But I remember it was so swank and so wonderful. But between the dress, the nails, the hair, the parking in Manhattan, all the things that we had to pay for to get there, it was close to $300 just for that one event that I had to go to. And that year I had several events to go to. So it was a pretty penny. And I did not budget for that kind of stuff. That's on top of the gift giving that I had to do and the collections on the jobs and so forth. So one of the things I like to say to people, especially if you know that you're in that kind of a situation business-wise, budget that in. Think about the last quarter. Think about the stuff that, I mean, you're already here this year, so if you didn't budget, it's done. But think about it for next year. If this is the kind of business and the kind of environments that you run in, make sure you put a little budget in there for the things that are going to come through in the last quarter this time of the year. I know for me in my business, I would budget for bonuses for my secretary and different things that I had to pay out and different events that I have to go to. So try to do that. That will help reduce your financial stress. And again, maybe get with a financial advisor and look at your budgeting to make sure that you are financially healthy all year long, and don't drop that habit during this time of the year just because everybody's pulling at you and telling you you have to buy a ticket for this, you have to do that, you have to donate here, you have to give here. Learn how to say no. Learn how to say no. Okay, I'm looking at the comment section. Thank you for the comments. Thank you so much. And thank you. Frankie has a question. Any suggestions for handling family tension and boundaries? I feel that's a big one during the holidays. Oh, definitely, Frankie. And what's hard is because these are the people that you love, so it feels difficult to say no to them. It's easier to say no to strangers, and it's harder to say no to family. One of the things I always like to say is that how, because they're family, they're the ones who should be able to give you more grace than even a stranger. And sometimes we don't measure in that grace. We feel that there's going to be so much judgment. Depending on what's going on, if you have a legitimate reason why you need to say no, sometimes you can explain that. And you could ask them as family to really respect your value, whether it's around money, whether it's around your time. But if you feel like they do not have the emotional bandwidth to be able to grant you that grace, sometimes you just have to do no and let it be a mic drop moment. No explanation. The Bible says don't cast your pearls before swine. They're not going to value it. If you have family members and it doesn't matter how much you explain, it will not make a difference, then save your explanation. They're going to be mad either which way. But here's the thing about families. They might be mad either which way, but eventually they'll come around, especially if you don't make a big deal out of it. They'll be mad at you and you'll just play ignorant. You don't even know that they're mad at you. Give them space and give them grace. Just walk away quietly, then recontact them whenever it makes sense to recontact them and just say, hey there, how are you doing? Chances are they're going to act like he doesn't remember that he said no to me or he offended me, but they're not going to prolong it because they're family. So handling family tension and boundaries can only be handled by first setting them and dealing with the discomfort of the other person's unhappiness with you. That's what's hard, Frankie. Having people not happy with you. That's an internal work that you're going to have to do. If it's a matter that you're in a situation where it's tense, go show up, smile, wave, then duck out of there as soon as possible. If it's a family situation where it's very toxic and you don't really like to be there, but you don't have an option and you have to be there, go, but make your time very short. So these are just, there's so many different types of situations. It's hard to address all of them, but hopefully one of those tips could help you. Thank you so much for putting that question in there. So getting back to financial health, again, know that every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. If you're saying yes to spending a lot of money now, you're saying no to financial peace in the future. If you're saying yes to breaking your budget, you're saying no to being able to pay your bills on time. And that allows for some more stress. So just keep that in mind. Let me see another question. Okay, good, Frankie. All right, so next one we're going to talk about briefly here is spiritual health. Now, one of the things I do is I'm a psychotherapist. I'm also a Christian counselor, and my Christian worldview really permeates everything I do, both in the therapy world and in the coaching world. And around this time of the year, I like to also focus on our spiritual health. not only because Christ is the reason for the season. Christmas, it's about Christ. For Christians, it's about Christ. For other people, it could be a very secular holiday. For other people of other faiths, as I mentioned before, for the Jewish people, it's Hanukkah. It's not about Christmas. But nevertheless, we all get pulled into some aspect. I believe everybody has some kind of faith. Even people who say that they're atheists, they have some kind of faith. This is the season to, I think, really sit and evaluate what that faith is. For us as Christians, we take this time of the year to really be thankful for the gift of God's Son, Jesus Christ. So we celebrate his birthday. Yes, there's all different thoughts about that, but that's not what we're going to get into. I just say during this time of the year, there can be challenges to your spiritual health in that there's this move to really secularize every aspect of the holidays and pull you into the buying and the marketing and just a lot of the festivities are very secular. Not a problem. You could enjoy them. However, remember, Jesus is the reason for the season for us as Christians, and take that time to really lean into your faith. Take that time really to evaluate your beliefs, evaluate them in light of what you understand of your faith. This is a perfect time to just bookmark that and just to not just to say, oh, that's just something we do, but to say, no, it's something I do. And why do I do it? And what is its value to me? How can I use this time of the year to really strengthen myself? Let that be a healthy holiday habit, that this is the time of the year that you sit and count the cost and pay attention to your growth in faith. Are you deeper in your faith than you were a year ago? Will you be deeper in your faith a year from now? What kind of things do you want to hold on to? And what kind of things do you want to leave behind during this time of the year that will help ground you in your faith and in your beliefs and in your spiritual practices, daily prayer, meditation? This is a great time of the year for you to just look at all those things and evaluate it and work with it and strengthen it. So those are the 4 areas that I want to point you to. Physical health, and look at those challenges and take some steps to not let go of healthy practices, and make sure to establish healthy practices even before you get to the beginning of the year. Your emotional health, take some time to talk to people, because there may be things going on in the background that have their roots way back, but they get triggered this time of the year because there's so much a connection with people that maybe you don't normally are not normally connected during the rest of the year. Financial health. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So you're saying yes to something right now, and maybe you're saying no to your future, or the plans to buy a house, the plans to pay off your car. Those are long-term goals and financial goals. So don't sacrifice them all on the altar of just right now buying and pleasing people. And those things will not last. So pay attention. Don't sacrifice your financial health. And spiritual health, as I said, make this a good time of the year to really look at that and focus on that, and remember that we are spiritual beings, and we do need to take stock of what our beliefs and values are. We're living by our practice, our beliefs, and the values that we say that we hold. This is a good time to kind of look at that. All right, here. So I'm going to look one more time, see if there are any questions from anybody. I will be happy to answer any questions. As I said, I posted some links at the bottom of the description. You're welcome to explore any of them. I tried to find things that were free, that didn't have a cost to them, that you could access at any time. All of them are geared to help you to optimize any of those areas where there might be challenges for you. If there's something else that occurs to you later, or if this is on replay, please feel free to post questions. I'll be sure to answer whatever I can as we go along. Okay, we're now 5:45. I will not hold you. I want to just tell you guys that you were awesome. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking time to listen. I pray that something that was said here today holds some value for you. And if it does, I'm very thankful. And if I can help anybody in the future, feel free to contact me through my website. And with that, I'm going to sign off again, unless there is a question. But thank you so much, Colleen. I so appreciate you being here, and Frankie and Tamika. And I thank you all for being here and spending some time with me. You go off and you have a happy, healthy holiday. This is Allison Vanella signing off.